what's happening guys? Mark back here on Mark's Aquatics. Right, it's a beautiful sunny day down on Lungy Beach and we're going to do some coastal foraging in some of these lovely little rock pools and these little tidal ways in amongst the rocks. It's a big spring tide this time. It's I'm not sure if it's about a 6.4, 6.5, but the tide's gone down very, very low. So hopefully we've got a good chance of finding some lobsters, some crab, all different manner of species of fish. It's August time now as well, which means there's lots of little baby things lurking in amongst the rock pools, and there's a good chance of finding some really interesting stuff to show you guys as well. So all the videos that I've been doing recently with the breeding videos, they're going to be put on hold for the next, well, probably the next few videos, because I'm going to be doing a lot of videoing from here and on the island and on the boat as well. Hopefully we're going to see some stunning close-ups of some seabird colonies on the out around the island. Some of the big gannet colonies there, which are absolutely amazing to see, and they're a real spectacle, they really are. So without further ado, I think what we should do is go down to the low water mark now. I'll spin this camera around so you can see a little bit better. You can see a lovely view of the beach behind me there, people getting their boats in, and you can see all the way down, right the way down there. That's where we're going to be going, and hopefully finding some nice little things to have a look at. Now, it's not going to be a catch or a cook video, this one. It's just going to be a complete little video all about what lives on the beach. I know I said I was going to do some catch and cook videos. That's still a possibility, but while I'm here, it's going to be a catch and release policy only, and because I do love the creatures, and as the older I get, the softer I get, and I like to see these things go back unharmed to live another day, especially with lobsters and crab, because they take, well, especially lobsters, they take such a long time to get to a certain size, and you get a bit of a soft spot for these things when you start keeping them, and like I say, when you get older, and it's nice to see them go back to the wild. So I'll be showing you quite a few things today, hopefully, and I'll keep it exciting. So let's spin this camera around and get mooching in these rock pools, okay? Right guys, I don't know if you can hear me okay. It's a little bit windy down here today, but you can see we're right down on the beach there. We've got the big breakwater running all the way along the top of the wall there, the old German defence there. You can see that old gun emplacement there right in the middle, which had an old machine gun in, which would have scanned across the beach from left to right any enemy incoming troops. That would have cut them down, but none of that happened on the island, thankfully. We didn't see any action on the island during the war, but as you can see there, we come all the way around there. We got the old Queen's Quay rocks there, which is called there the old Roman jetty, or the old Roman harbour there. They've just found some lovely new remains up over the top there of an old Roman settlement up there next to an Iron Age settlement. So that's a lovely find for them guys. But we're right down by the low water mark there. Sea's glistening away, looks absolutely beautiful. A few swimmers in. Fort Essex up on the hill, and that rock there called the Hanging Rock, which apparently years and years ago the Spanish tried to tow the island away. They threw ropes around it with loads of galleons and tried to steal the island. I don't think that's very true, but that's an old legend there. We've got a few nice little boats in amongst the harbour, and it's great. But in amongst these rocks here, where you're looking, you've got these big deep crevices all in amongst these rocks here. Now, you get lobster in these and crab, but you've got to put your hands right in. Sometimes you have to go a little bit deeper out, but hopefully we'll see some. Got some really big kelp stems there, as you can see, which have been torn off now in these big tides. And I'll show you actually. Sometimes if you break the stems apart down at the bottom there, these big root systems, you get little pockets of water left in them, and you get some little creatures living in amongst those. So we'll try and have a look in those shortly. But what I want to do is get along these big cracks here and see if we can find anything. So there's quite a few over here. We can have a look down, and I don't know if you guys can see, I'll just zoom that back here again. You've got these very, very big crevices. My shadow is going to cast a shadow, but we've got to pull all this weed out, and then I'm not sure if you can see under there, but I've got to get my hands right in under there and hopefully not get bitten by anything that's lurking under there. And I can't feel anything in there at the moment. I'm going to move all this weed out so we can get in there and have a look, and we'll just see how deep that goes in, okay? Right, okay guys, I've just set the camera up there. That's the hole that I'm going to go and look in there now. I thought I'd seen something moving around in the background, so I'm going to stick my arm in amongst that lot and see if we can pull something out for you to see, okay? another big one. Lovely old lobster there. I'll just come and give you a look. Wow, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Stunning blue colour. She's quite a light blue on this one. You can tell it's a female because she's got a big wide, just like our shrimps that we breed in our aquariums. Now the females tend to have a wider back. Okay, if I turn it to the side there, you see it's quite a wide back across there. I'll just turn on her side so you can see all her swimmers in the sun. She may flick, but you can see that's a big wide bottom there because I've got quite big hands, and you can see that's where all those little eggs, and they're lovely jet black eggs, and they have thousands of them. Woohoo! Settle down, little girl. Let me put her tail back there. She'll be okay. She's out in the bright light now, so she's not going to be too happy. Her antenna there, one of those is a bit short, been snapped off, but that will regrow on her next shed. This one's about the right length. They normally reach down past the body. Now when you're in the holes, I'll try not to get bitten, but they'll stick those out first of all, and that's the first thing you'll see is that big wobbly red tentacle there, or the pair of them sticking forwards like that out of the hole. Now if you see those, you know there's one in there. So what I tend to do is put my hand in over the back. There's no water in there, just a little bit of water she was in the bottom. There's a few crab in there as well, little green crabs, but she's absolutely beautiful. Now if anyone else would have found this, they would have been straight home and in the pot, and she would have been cooked up. But we're going to put her back, and I'll cover her up with some seaweed. Beautiful big claws. That's the big crushing claw there. You can see that power. There's no way I'm going to open that claw. She's being good with the other one, not trying to get me. But that's the one they'll crush the food up with, and this one is called the cutting claw. Now that's that one in there, you can see quite close. It's got lots of little small teeth in amongst that, and if you get gripped hold of by that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And it's really good. If it got hold of your kiddie's finger, it could probably near enough cut a little finger off. So you've got to be super careful poking your hands in amongst crevices and nooks and crannies. Okay, anyway, I'm going to put this girl back, and then we're going to go mooching around a little bit further and see if we can find any others for you. Okay. Alright guys, there's that nice bit of kelp that I saw before, that I showed you. And like I said, sometimes if you break these apart, sometimes you get little pockets of water in them, and you can find little crabs and things running around in these big root masses. Right, what can we see? Oh yeah, look, there's a little leg sticking out of there. Oh, we got a velvet swimming crab in here. I'll try and get her out without getting bitten, because these are savage little girls and little guys. There you are, look. I'll just wash him in a rock pool a minute. Hey, look at that. Bright red eyes and very nippy claws, which like to bite you very, very quickly. You can tell this one's a female. Let me just hold those claws away from me a minute. There you go. Now then, large triangle on there means she's going to be carrying the eggs underneath. So you pull that down, you can see all those little swimmers in there. She'll swim those around, but she'll put all the eggs in there, and she'll hold that open with all the eggs in until they're ready to hatch, and then she'll wave that backwards and forwards like that in the current, and all that little planktonic stage will go out into the water column and join that plankton chain until they shed a couple of times and get heavy, and then they'll sink to the seabed and carry on the next generation of lady crabs, or swimming crabs, velvet swimming crabs, various names for these little guys, but they're beautiful. So I'll put her down here and she'll run under that. Quite happy under there. Right, let's look for some more lobsters. Okay guys, there's another lovely big run of rocks running all the way around there, and I've just found another one, but he's right back deep in the hole, so I'm going to have to go in and get him out. you go. Look at that guy. Hey, fantastic stuff. Right, we got another one. Luck would have it, I'm just going to set you up somewhere nice so we can have another look at this chap, okay? I'll put him up there on the weed so you guys can see him. And come away from that so you can see the sun. Now what we found now is a male. As you can see, big old crushing claw on that one. Look at that. Massive big crushing claw. And a big cutting claw on the other side. Beautiful blue, this one. Beautiful big tail. Now if you look at the tail on this one, it's narrow. And that means that this one's a male, which is fabulous. And it's got a full set of antennae as well. One slightly shorter than the other one. This one's about full size. They're normally the same length as the body, you see, just over. So they can put the length of their body out in front of them like that, out of the hole, and then they can feel anything comes in there, they touch that, they'll retreat then back into the hole. Because these are big tides, they've been caught out by the tide, so they can hide back in the rocks, but we can find them and pull them out. Now, we used to call it cricking years ago. We got a type of shellfish called an ormer over here. People in New Zealand call them power, and they're a bigger species of ormer here, but these are smaller ones that we get here. But they're beautiful eating. And we've eaten them for years. People over here in the Channel Islands have eaten ormers for years. I'll try and find you some shells later on, or might find some down here today, I'm not sure. I hope the wind isn't being too annoying for you guys, buffeting on the speaker. Obviously I'm not going to tell that until we get back. There's one of the local airlines just coming in, bringing a load of people in for their holiday. But what a beautiful little catch that is. Tiny little claws on the front there. They go sifting through the ground, picking up things. Not a very strong bite on those. You can put your finger in there and it will just give you a little pinch, but nothing much. But you don't want to get caught with these guys here. That is a prime lobster if I've ever seen one. And good 2 pound in weight. Beautiful for eating, but yet again, he's going to go back down in Davy Jones's locker and hide away from these fishermen and hopefully live out a long life. This could be 20-year-old, this lobster. And we've had them well up. We've had some of the ones we've had in the boat over the years, that part of the claw has been the size of a size 6 shoe. Massive. Probably about as big as my forearm. Absolutely monstrous. And beautiful to see them, and they're stunning colour. Right, I'm going to put this little guy back into a rock pool because he's been dry up here. That's why he's a little bit limp, because his little body is storing water. They can store water up. Okay, I'll just take him out in the shade, and what we'll do is I'll put him in here and you'll probably see some bubbles come out. There you go. Now what he's doing now is he's sucking that water in now, and he's refilling his gills. You can just see some fresh seawater coming in there, nice and cold. He'll be glad of that returning tide, but they will store water up in their bodies. Get that sand off of you. And that's what I'm saying, they'll store water up in there for a certain period of time where they can stay out of the water until that returning tide comes. You can see he's getting a little bit more active now. He's starting to come back to life already. But that's fantastic. So I'm going to let him go. There's a nice little hole there, look, he can go in. So I'm going to let him go in there. And there you go. Off you go, mate. Right, I think we should have a nice little look around now, see what else we can find. I've found those now. You've seen your lobsters. Now we'll see if we can find any crab. Right guys, I've been all the way along this little neck of the coastline here, in amongst all this weed. I've been throwing my hands right in amongst it all, having a look in there. Couldn't find any crab whatsoever. Sometimes you'll find just crab, other times we found some lobsters, which was like today, which was fantastic. I found 2 beautiful big lobsters there to show you. And let's hope we can find some other stuff. I don't think we're going to find any more crab. I've just come across this other little neck here, so we'll see what's lurking around up in here. You can never tell. Saw a nice seal earlier bobbing around out to sea. Got some nice rocks here that we can turn over. I've got to watch my back. It wasn't that long ago that I was put my back out, put a few discs out. So There you go, you lift the things up and you can see all sorts. There's a nice snake-like anemone there on the side, but nothing else. A lot of the small crabs, you'll find lots of small edible crabs in amongst the rocks. And make sure you, when you do put the rocks back, guys, you put them back nice and carefully, and make sure you're not crushing anything. You can see where I was catching those lobsters earlier. There's another big hole there that goes right the way back, nice and dark and gloomy in amongst there, all the way under these rocks. And what we used to do over here, my dad, my brothers, my grandparents, they had a hook, just a normal piece of long iron with a little hook on the end, and it was hammered flat into a blade at one end. Instead of a point, it was like a rounded, and it was like we used to call it cricking, and that was when you go along and you'll see a crab or a lobster right deep in one of these holes on the low water mark, and you can put it in behind it and then just drag it out forwards. It gives you an extra metre, sometimes a couple of metres. You can get right underneath these and get a torch and look right in underneath, and you can find some amazing stuff to eat. You definitely wouldn't starve, and it just shows you all the coastal foraging that our ancestors did many moons ago. They'd have done exactly the same as I'm doing now. They'd have had sticks probably and worked out how to get in amongst these rocks to fish these little guys out for some food. And you can see the limpets everywhere as well. Now this is another good source of food if you're on the beach and you fancy a forage and a cook up. Limpets are very good for eating. We don't get the mussels here like we do back in Wales. We get lots and lots of mussels back in Wales, but we don't get them here. Super clear water here, and that's probably the problem, because it hasn't got the silty. They like that silty, muddy sort of water that they can filter out all the bits from and feed away. And it's more of a muddy estuarine area where we are, up around the coast there. And we've got just shingle beaches here and lovely white sandy beaches. So, but there you go. You can see all these big cracks we can hunt through and have a look. But I think what we'll do now is we'll go back and we'll look in some rock pools and see if we can find some shrimps, I think. Okay guys, just come across a lovely rock pool there. If you can see some ripples in amongst it up here. There's lots and lots of little baby fish up there. I'm not sure what they are, but we'll get a few in the net and we'll just have a look what they are. The tide's just coming in now and filling this pool up, so we may be lucky or we may not be lucky. They could be mullet, they could be bass. We don't know until we get close to them. We may have got a couple in there. We'll have a look, shall we? Oh yeah, we got a couple in there. I got my brother's kids with me today. Little Isla. See him? Oh, there's one in there, there is. Just one little one in there swimming around, and that's a little, I think that's a little mullet, that is. It looks like a little mullet. We'll try and get some more. We'll let this one go. We'll see what else we can find. Aha, there you go guys. If you look in that pot there, we got lots of little baby mullet. I think we've got about 6 or 7 in that little last scoop that I took out of that little tidal inlet there. But they're beautiful little fish. You can see those little mullet eyes and that little wide mouth that they've got. They love chewing away on all the algae and sifting along in the sand. Very well adapted fish for inshore, and there is millions of them. I mean, different types of mullet in various parts of the world are vast. You get them in vast numbers. People use them as bait, people eat them, they do all kinds of stuff with them. But these are all the baby ones from this year. They were born probably earlier on in the year, and they've been in the pools here and in the shallows and in the warm shallows, sifting through the sand on the beach and putting on a little bit of size. It's beautiful to see them. Sometimes if you're quite lucky, I'm not sure if you looked at one of my last videos, we had some mullet on one of my other foraging videos I did last time I was here, and we had a little tiny bass as well, which was lovely to see. That was the first one that I've ever seen on the island, or of that size, so that was quite interesting. But I think without further ado, I think they're a little bit stressed in this pot. We'll take them back to the ocean now, and we'll release them back into their watery home. Ah, there you go guys, just come across a spider crab here on the beach. Now this one's probably shed. I don't think it's not alive, because if you look here, I can lift this lid up like a bonnet of a car. Look, there you go. And what they'll do, when they're too big for their shells and they've outgrown their shells, they get very weak around the back here. Okay, they grow again in size inside, but they stay soft. Then they'll slowly pump up their bodies with water, which pops this shell. It lifts up like a little bonnet like this, and then believe it or not, they come out backwards like that and pull all their legs out. That's the gills, okay, and they pull out everything. As you can see, it's clean inside that shell. Look, there's nothing in there at all, and it's just completely hollow. And it's a really good way if you wanted to find one and dry it out and leave it in your garden, even as an ornament, with these little claws, little pincers there on the front. But it's completely hollow, so it's something that you could take and actually dry out, and it wouldn't smell at all, because there's no living tissue left in that, believe it or not, whatsoever. No meat. The whole crab's gone out, and that is just its exoskeleton left on the beach. And that's how crabs get bigger in size. The same as spiders do the same. Anything with an exoskeleton, it can't grow, so they grow within, they shed, they get bigger all the time. Insects are the same, some species, but it's very interesting stuff. So I'll leave that. Maybe someone on their holiday will take it home and dry it out and leave it in their garden for a little ornament, who knows. Let's see what else we can find. Hello, this is Isla. This is my brother's little girl on the beach having an amazing time. You going to say hello to all the guys?
Hello everybody.
Yay, good job. Now she's found something in her bucket, and her mum is walking across the beach to us now, and she's going to show us what she's caught. So let's have a look. Aha, what you found is a sand eel. Here he is, just swimming on the top of the bucket there. We're going to have to get this guy back into the water, because believe it or not, sand eels will come and bury in amongst the sand, and they can live out the water, but they bury in the sand into little holes, and they can stay alive that way until the returning tide. So I think what we should do is go and put him back into the sea so he can join with his mates and grow up to be a big sand eel. What do you think, Isla? Should we put him back in the sea?
Yeah, you can catch him.
That was a very good find. You don't normally see those. Very good find. Let's go and put him back. Well guys, just come across, I just had one scoop in that net, with the net in that pool there, and I've just caught, I think it's about 5 scorpion fish. Look at that, absolutely beautiful, stunningly camouflaged to the weed that they come from. You look at the colour of that, and you look at the colour of that, they mimic our background perfectly. Non-venomous, but they've got spines on the side of the gill cases there, which they flare out, and you can get a little spike from them. But they're absolutely stunning little fish. If you look at that, they're going to go mad a bit. But I'll put them up to the light. Look at that, beautiful fish. Finding all sorts. My brother's just turned up. We're filming. He's on film.
And we're going to find.
We're all on film. Just found these lovely scorpion fish. Look at that.
Oh, you got to watch out treading on those buggers.
No, they're non-venomous, these.
Oh, those are they?
Yeah, they got spikes on the gill cases, but
It's the weavers you've got to watch out.
it's the weavers you've got to watch, yeah.
Where'd you find those?
In that pool there. So we'll put them back so they can carry on their day. There they go. Swim away. Look how camouflaged they are to the weed. There you go. All good? There you go guys. My brother has just found a nice little small edible crab. Is it a little male or a little female, that one? Lift it upside down, a little female, that one. Big triangle underneath. Look at that. Another couple of pound, that would have made you a nice tea. Stick him back in there and he'll crawl away under those rocks. I've got some of these little shrimp here as well. Some of these I found last year. A couple of little fish as well. Right, there you go, all you shrimp fans out there. We've got a lovely little shrimp there. I just threw my pot on the floor and decided to crack it. My mother's going to be furious. Never mind. Look at that. She's absolutely chock-a-block with berries. There's 2 of them in there. I'll try and turn you around and you might see the other one as well on a clearer side. Oh, there you go. There's a nice little view. Thank you very much for showing me your family to be. But look at that. She's still feeding away, cleaning away in there. And she's absolutely loaded up with berries there. Look at that, fantastic stuff. Now they're not like our shrimps that we have in our tanks where they will give birth to live young. These are like the Amano shrimps, where they will hatch out in the water but they stay in a planktonic stage and they'll float around in the sea and then they will shed and they will get heavier, and then they will drop to the bottom. They'll actually transform into little shrimps like they do. So that's a really interesting little fact for you to know there. So when you see them on the beach, you see we've got two of them in there, very, very heavily buried. So we're going to put those back into a rock pool now, and they can carry on with their business. There's something else flying around in there as well. I don't know what that is. Some kind of little, no idea what that is. Interesting stuff. But tomorrow hopefully we can come down, or some point we can come down. There it is again. It's like some kind of little sandhopper or a little flatworm or something flying around in it. There he is. But we'll try and find some more stuff. My brother's looking now, but this video is a bit long now, so I think we'll end this one here. So I'm going to put these guys back into their pool where I got them from. They can hide under the rocks. Anyway guys, if you want more of these videos, give me a shout, give me a thumbs up and all that stuff. At the end, drop me a comment, anything. If you want me to look for anything in specific I can find for you on these beaches around the Channel Islands that you might see or you haven't seen before, let me know and I'll try and find it for you and film it. We had a really good day today with those lobsters. Had a beautiful couple of lobsters there, male and female. Lovely to film them for you and return them to the sea. Anyway guys, as always, you're all stars. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back with another video shortly. They may not be on the Wednesday and the Sunday where I'm normally doing them. They're just going to be sporadic, I think, throughout the week. We're hopefully going to get out in the boat and do some fishing out in the boat, some deep sea stuff, and see what we can catch out there as well and show you. Anyway guys, as I always say, you're all stars. Love you loads. Take care, and I'll see you on the next episode of Marks Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.